Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be a quick contest entry. Wanted to knock this out before I got back to work for Wes over at Psychorocklive. It's his first contest, new channel I just discovered through Aaron Mother Alamar actually. And so wanted to just kind of, anytime someone who's a bit newer to the VC is doing their first contest, it's always cool to kind of jump on board, give him some support. And I think Wes is fairly new, even though he has a number of videos up. I just discovered his channel. And but yeah, let me leave a link down below so you can go click on his channel, check him out, sub, and yeah, let's kind of jump right into his first official contest. One simple question actually, which was basically just kind of show your most beat up, roughed up, kind of records in your collection. And it's pretty much straightforward. So those of you that know me or follow my channel for a number of years now know that about 5 or so years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I went through a gigantic purge in my collection where I went through all my CDs and vinyl and everything and just got rid of everything that was not absolutely perfect or in like really close to being perfect kind of thing, which I'm so glad I did. I enjoy my collection so much more because of that. But yeah, so there's not really a lot of rough stuff in my collection at all. However, I do have a separate tabbed section that I keep separate from my collection. It's almost like I have a little mini collection on the side. And actually I pulled out the tab just to show you because I think it's kind of funny. And that tab is called Finders Keepers, is the name of that tab section. And basically what that is, there's only about 22 or 23 albums in that section, so it's not a lot or anything. But that's why I put any albums that just frankly, condition-wise, for whatever reason, are not good enough to be put into my official collection, but they are albums that maybe I still want to listen to and I want to have on hand, and I'm just not willing to get rid of until I actually find a nice near mint copy of whatever that album is. So again, there's only about 22 or 23 albums in my collection that I feel kind of fit into that beat up section, and they're all in that Finders Keepers tab. So I just thought what I would do is like go through and I would show maybe 5, and I would show you maybe 4 from the Finders Keepers section, and then what I would do is actually go into my official collection, if you will, and actually find what's probably the roughest album that's in my official collection and show that one as the 5th one. So just kind of how I decided to approach it for fun. So in the Finders Keepers section, one that was there is this one here, which is Iran's The Land of Hunger. This is the 12-inch single. And this actually is not one that I'm looking to get a near mint copy of. This is in there strictly for sentimental value. When I was young, back in junior high, I wandered into a record store one day when my friends and I were hanging out downtown, and I saw the Kiss Alive 2 gatefold for the first time. Blew my mind, had no idea what was on it, but I was like, I gotta have this record. And then I also found this 12-inch single of Land of Hunger, which was a song that I really liked back then. And only 2 vinyl records I owned. Got those back in junior high. And so, I wasn't a record collector. I didn't really have a lot of records, period. Cassettes were kind of the bigger thing then. And this just kind of got left behind at home. You go through high school and you go to college and everything else. And about 8 or 9 years ago, my mom was cleaning out some deep corners of the garage and was like, I found this, do you want it? I was like, holy cow, I have not seen that since junior high. So I have to keep that just for, sentimental sake, because officially the first record I went into the store and ever bought with my own little money. So, and the Irons were really cool too. I mean, Land of Hunger was not only a great song, but they were really kind of the early version of Daft Punk, or Daft Punk became the later version of Irons, however you want to put it. But they all had their motorcycle outfits. You never saw their faces. They did all their interviews with the helmets and everything on. Even the writing credits on the studio album, I should have pulled that out. The writing credits are the numbers that you see on their vest. Like that's how stuff is credited on the albums. So I don't know, as a kid, that stuff kind of blows your mind. You're like, oh, they're so cool. But so that's one. Another one in Finders Keepers, strictly for sentimental value, is this here, which is A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. This is a 1974 US press, so it's a slightly earlier pressing, but the OG original pressing of this is like one of my absolute grails. But you can see here, like the vinyl is just in freaking awesome condition. It's like near mint right there for sure. But you know, the cover is definitely showing some ring wear and flattening and all that good stuff. But the only reason I'm keeping this one, even though I have a number of other nice copies, is that this was the first album that ever brought me to jazz, or the first jazz album I ever really bought. I mean, I had listened to a Kenny G album prior to ever getting this, you know, but when I first started collecting, I mean, I'm at about maybe 70 records or so, and I'm in a record store one day, never cared about jazz, never really listened to jazz at all, and the guy is playing this, and I'm flipping through looking at stuff, and I'm just like, wait, what is this? Like, I can't even stop, you know, bopping my head to it. I go over to the counter and ask him, and he's like, oh, it's John Coltrane, Love Supreme. You know, got John Coltrane? I'm like, what? John who? And he gives me a little breakdown, and he's like, yeah, this is what I'm playing, and gave it to me for 12 bucks, and this was my introduction to all things jazz. So not only this album, but this specific copy was my first introduction to all things jazz. So when I think about Sun Ra, the Mobley, the, you know, Peterson, Hill, Miles Davis, like McCoy, like on and on and on and on, all of it goes back to this album right here. So I keep that for sentimental reasons as well. So two more out of the Finders Keepers. Got the Bar-Kays Soulfinger, awesome freaking album. I play this one actually quite frequently. I mean, I do like this album a lot. Of course, the title track Soulfinger. But yeah, as you can see there, you know, got some nice rough ring wear, has a punch hole right there, a little bit of writing right up there in the corner. And so this is a 1967 US pressing. This came out in 65, so it's definitely an earlier pressing. But yeah, just not in good enough condition to make it into my collection. The vinyl's very solid, plays absolutely great, has a few superficial marks, but like I said, just not good enough to make it officially into the collection. But I am definitely going to keep it until I get my hands on a near mint one, because I love this album. And like I said, I definitely do play it from time to time. And the last one I'll show you from the Finders Keepers, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And this is a 1979 US pressing, so it is an original pressing. Again, vinyl, very, very good shape, plays fantastic, wonderful gloss to it. But as you can see, the cover there definitely has some solid ring wear action with those black covers, of course. And so again, this is one that I'm gonna keep, so I have a nice playing copy until I can actually get my hands on an excellent to near mint copy. And this is one where I really only want the OG pressing. I know they just reissued it not too long ago, and that's one of the things you'll find in my collection is I'm very weird about that. I just kind of feel that a record will speak to me and tell me if I need to have the OG pressing or if I need to have the reissue. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just get a feeling in my gut of this is what I have to have of that record. And this is one where I have to have the OG pressing. I just will not accept a reissue for whatever reason. So hopefully one day I'll get a nice copy of that soon. But I mean, yeah, you know, American Girl, the whole 9 classic. So like I said, those are 4 of like the 22 or so albums that are in that Finders Keepers. So when I went to look through my official collection, if you will, the worst album I could find in there was this one here, which is Ozzy Osbourne and Randy Rhodes tribute. You know, this is a nice 87 US pressing, so a nice original pressing there. You see the back, a little bit of ring wear at the top, definitely some light ring wear on the sides, and a little bit heavier top and bottom. But both the LPs are right at excellent to near mint minus. I mean, they're just almost flawless. So with this being such a, not the easiest record in the world to get, much less getting a near mint copy all the way around, I just kind of thought, yeah, I just don't have it in me to throw this into the finders keepers section. So this is probably the worst thing in my collection. And really what my hopes are is that, and I kind of, look at this quite a bit, is to maybe find a copy online, a VG vinyl, but the cover is in excellent and near mint condition, and exact same pressing, and kind of Frankenstein together a perfect pressing of it. But yeah, that was kind of the worst thing that I found vinyl wise. And one other thing I thought may be kind of fun to show, just throw in a little extra. When I went through and did my purge, as I mentioned, I did it on my CDs as well, where I went through, cleaned every single CD, replaced any jewel case that didn't look absolutely brand new, and any CD that had even the one or two of the lightest little marks or scuffs on it. Didn't affect play at all, but if it had any marks on it, it came out of the collection. So I moved it around a couple of times, but that's kind of what this is right here, this wall of CDs. These are all the CDs that I pulled out of my collection. And every now and then, I take some to the shops that I work at, and I have, excuse me, the guys that kind of work on CDs, I'll have them buff a couple of them out and get them back to, brand new looking, and then I'll put them back in my collection. But yeah, so I purged a ton of those, and so you can see how many came out. But it was also nice because, here, I'll give you an idea about how many kind of stayed. So it's kind of nice to have, know that portion of my collection, like everything you just saw is like absolute brand new, right out of the store, brand new out of the store mint condition. But one that I kept that is not going to get cleaned up or not going to get a new jewel case or anything is this one right here, which is Madonna's Immaculate Collection, which, as you can see, big old crack over there. The whole chunk of the case is missing right there. And, number of scuffs all over this CD too. But the only reason I'm keeping this one raw and as is because this is the first CD I ever bought. First one I ever owned. Matter of fact, I think I got this one day, and then the next day I got Green Day's Dookie, and those were like my first two CDs ever. So again, this is just kind of more of a sentimental value type of thing, and just kind of keeping that one roughed and not going to clean it up or anything. So anyway, there you go, man. Those are kind of the beat up pieces and things in my collection, kind of how I manage that in my collection. So yeah, as always, let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, take care, VC.